Good afternoon, Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Grant Morel. How are you, Grant?
I'm fine, thanks you, really, Nomsa. I'm good. I'm a little bit tired. We were just talking before the show started about a phenomenon known as solar flare, which may be the reason that a lot of people are feeling tired right now. I don't know if that's true, but it's a suggested theory. I've just come back from Morocco, as you know, a retreat out there, which was really busy, really a lot of goes into running a retreat, and I was co-running that. Um, and after that, I did have a bit of a holiday, but I'm normally quite active on a holiday, so that was it. So it's now I'm just catching up with things. But yeah, it's good to be back. I enjoyed the trip. It's good to be back, getting on with things, and got other things. Got a workshop at the end of this weekend, so it's quite a lot going on. And then I'm preparing to go away in a couple of weeks. But apart from that, I'm good. I'm enjoying it. I feel quite relaxed, and I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. So the topic today is how to overcome negative thinking patterns. Negative thinking patterns can quietly control your confidence, your choices, your relationship, and even faith in the future. Sometimes the problem is not that life is hopeless, is that your mind has been trained to expect the worst. So, in this today episode, we will talk about how to recognize negative thinking patterns, challenge them, replace them with the healthier thoughts. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You can renew your mind, rebuild your confidence, and begin to see yourself and your life with more hope, truth, and peace. What do you think, Grant, about the topic?
Great subject. I understand that one of the guests actually asked us to one of the listeners asked us to come up with this subject, and it's a great one because everybody has negative thinking. So everybody has negative thinking in their life. It always comes in. So you're not going to avoid it. It will happen. But the question is how to overcome it. So I think it's a really universal question. So thank you for asking it. That's what I feel like saying.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think it's really important to recognize the patterns. Like you are saying, Grant, that you can't avoid them, but you have to be aware and notice them and pay attention to repeated thoughts. Like if your thoughts comes and say, I'm not enough, nothing ever work for me, or something bad will happen, or awareness is the beginning of freedom. Uh, it's really, really important to raise that awareness, and also never make them wrong, as Carol Ann will say. She always say, don't make them wrong, just deal with them. Over to you, Grant.
Thank you, Nomsa. Yeah, I think you said some of the key words right there, Nomsa. And I always say with anything we're looking at, Anna, recognize is the first thing to it's the awareness of noticing when it happens. So when it happens to you, when you feel a negative thought, the first thing is to realize when it first starts is aha, it's happening again. And this is what it's happening again. I'm feeling that negative feeling. So first is to recognize it. Don't just let it wash over you and become you. Is to recognize it and say, I notice what's happening. I, that thing is beginning to start. So awareness is the number one thing to become aware of it. What are those biomarkers? What are those indicators? So notice that I think is the very first thing. And it can happen to us at the strangest of times. It can happen when we've been very happy. It can happen when we've been sad. Can it happen when we've been tired? Tired can be a great fatigue. I can feel down when I'm tired. And sometimes I recognize and I think I'm just tired. I'm just simply tired. The most productive thing I could do now is go to sleep. I don't want to send you to sleep, not saying it, but literally it is you talk about sleeping, you feel sleepy, right? But is if I'm just tired, I think the most productive thing is go to bed. Last night I was really tired. And I was running a call at about midnight and it got to about 1:20. And I said, guys, I think we're about done. Let's wrap it. And I went straight to bed, which is kind of unusual. I just went and I was asleep in like 30 seconds. I was out. I was gone. And I slept for 8 hours, which is quite unusual for me. A full 8 hours I slept. So yeah, I was tired. And I recognized if I was just feeling out of energy, I wasn't feeling sad. But it can happen that you get negative thoughts when you're tired because you are literally out of energy. You don't have extra capacity. So that could be one thing. Tired, fatigued, stressed can all be things. But if they happen, become aware. Am I feeling negative? Is it because I'm tired? Is it because I'm fatigued? Is it because I'm feeling stressed? Is it because I'm feeling underappreciated? What is it? But just become aware is the very first step. Is that something that you do, Nomsa?
Yeah, become aware. Yes, when negative thought comes, like you said, Grandy, you said something very, very important that don't let it wash over you or become you. Because if we allow them, they become us, they become part of us, and they end up becoming our identity. So I think it's really, really important what you said for us to be aware. For me, I have these babies. I think I have six of these earphones. So when I'm going out, the negative thoughts comes. People think I'm on the phone. Sometimes I talk to them. I talk to myself. Correct myself. Yeah, honestly, or sometimes if I'm walking to town, a negative thought comes, I have to, you can't talk to them from your heart. You have to speak out loud. So what I do is I speak them out loud. People don't take any notice anywhere because they think I'm on my phone. So I've always have this baby. See, my favorite one is this one, earphones. So wherever I'm walking, I put them on. There's spare in the kitchen. There's another one in the kitchen. Every room has a earphones. So if I can't find anyone, it always have to be charged. I even got to the earband ones where I can just put it there if I'm at work. So I just have to speak to my thought. Granted, you can't blame a woman wanting to be, I don't want to carry, like you said, I don't want them to become me. I want to be Nomsa. So when something tells me that I'm not good enough, or who do you think you are? So I just have to speak and say, listen, your negative thoughts. I am a child of God and I can do what I say I will do and I can get to where I need to be. So I'm not going to fear you negative thoughts. So I speak to my negative thoughts.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that. Huh, that's good. So, okay, so awareness,
yeah, it's
awareness.
important, like you said, yeah.
And then I would say the second step for this is to spot the pattern. When does this seem to occur? Now, we mentioned it earlier. Is it when you're tired? Is it because you're stressed? Is it because you're running late? Is it because you feel underappreciated? What is it? What is the trigger? Is it when someone says a certain word or looks at you in a certain way? What is it? What is the trigger? What is the thing for you that plunges you into thinking negatively? What is it? So look at those triggers, I think is the key thing. So you recognize here it comes again. So if you start to see yourself going into a certain situation you think is going to bring that about, perhaps steer yourself away from that situation. I'm rather good at avoiding negative people, actually. Um, Someone said you're very good at steering away from conflict. Yeah, because it doesn't do me any good. So It's like that wouldn't make much sense. Like if you're driving a car and you see a river in front of you, you may want to steer away from the river, right? Quite obviously, that's not going to. So if I see someone's going to drag you down, make you feel poor, whatever, I will just politely navigate away from that person, unless I feel they need my help. Then I may take a little bit of a bruising to help them so that they will stop being negative. But otherwise, if someone's hell bent on being negative around you, unless they're giving you some very good messages that you need to consider, then consider avoiding that person. So, what's the pattern? Is it that person? Is it that situation? Is it that feeling, that location where you feel under pressure? And then why do you feel under pressure? Yeah. What is it? What is it about these things? So really what you're looking for is patterns. We're looking for pattern matching. So go and make a list of those things. When does it occur? Where does it occur? How does it occur? What is the pattern? Okay. That's the thing. That's what do you notice that not necessarily yourself? Is there a certain pattern you start to see the cycle starting, as it were?
Oh yeah, when I'm having like the triggers for them is if I'm having like big meetings
Ah,
or if I have a big decisions to make, and that's when the negative thoughts they will start coming, and because they want to stop me, this fear trying to creep in. But for me, I don't allow it. Like I said, I speak to it, and I always like speak if I'm having a big meeting. Um, Preparing for my meeting and the negative thoughts just start creeping in different angles. So I just have to continue to do what I have to do. And I like it when you say your friend said you're good at avoiding conflict, and you said conflict is doesn't not good and do you any good.
no, that's right.
I think you have to avoid the conflict at all cost. For me, there's some people that I had to leave behind because when you're having friends, a friends is for you to hang out, to love them, to talk about things like if there's things that achievement or things slowing down. It's just to talk about life and have fun and uplift each other. But what I saw is like negative thoughts thinking like when we meet each other, like most women they compete with each other. I don't know if men are like that,
If they do what you're saying, I'm sir.
competing against each other.
Sometimes, not in the same way that women do, I don't think. No, I know men just say women make it so complicated, and some women say they can't stand being around women. They prefer being around men. There's too much going on with women.
Honestly, Grandy, I can tell you all my life I've never had girlfriends. I only started having girlfriends when I had my oldest daughter, 2006. I do not like bickering and bitching. I don't like it. Honestly, even at school, I used to hang out with boys because the boys are so simple. When
Yeah,
you mess up with it, honestly, men are so simple. They don't complicate things. When you mess up and you're looking for advice, they tell you off. Like, listen, Nomsa, you messed up.
I know. And the biggest mistake us men will do is tell women when there's a problem, we'll try and fix it. And they'll say, "We didn't want your advice, we just wanted you to listen." And we're like, this is complicated. If we've got a friend who's got a problem, he said, I've got a problem. I say, we'll come round tonight, we'll get a pizza, we'll sort it out. I'll phone him, I'll phone that person. They'll lend you this, they'll do that, and we'll fix the problem. And they're like, thank you. Guys want stuff fixed. Women want to be listened to.
Honestly, I used to hang out with boys. Boys are so simple. And also, I used to hang out with my parents. They people used to, I think they used to talk behind my back, but I didn't care. If I'm not with my parents, I'm just hanging out with boys. They make life so easy, so simple. But when I had my daughter, it was then I had to try to hang out with women, and they are not easy, but I'm very, very lucky. My male friends got married. So their wives are now my in-laws. So I hang out with their wives and they got good wives. So I'm very lucky in that part. These guys, I've known them from long, long time for 30 years and they got married. So they got married to the wives that accepted me. And also, I've met some women who are really, really like the guy who helped me with my business, Anthony, is my friend. His wife is she's gorgeous, she's lovely. So I hang out with his wife. So what I do is I make friends with guys and their wives, they become my friends. I end up hanging out with them. So that's how I make friendship. I'm very, very careful because I don't like bickering because it brings negative thoughts. You can't get creative. You spend time trying to make things up with friends and trying to actually solve conflict, as you say. Women, we are very, very complicated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Why do you think that is, Nobson?
I personally I think it's a choice because I'm not like that. I don't like it. And I've seen people that are on the talk show here. They're not like that either. They're very simple. Carol Anish is very simple to get along. Claudia, very simple to
Yeah,
get along.
yeah.
And Shireen, she's very simple. Shireen, she's my tutor sometimes when I'm studying. I ask her. Sometimes she helps me with, and she tells me off though. Oh, she's like a professor when she reads your assignment. I'm like, Shereen, do you realize I'm a student? I'm not a professor. Yeah, she's very strict. So I think it's a choice that we make, and also is in the mind. When you know where you need to go in life, you will focus on that. You wouldn't focus on conflict or bitching or anything like that because everything that we do is a choice. And also, some people, I think, it's the trauma that they have gone through, they've not dealt with. And because I used to see some people like I'll meet them and we start having a conversation. When we have a conversation, like myself, if I'm talking about my business and someone like would talk and try to make it like it looks like now we are competing, and me, I don't like that. I just like women who come together as one and just uplift each other. If there are struggles where we are struggling, we uplift each other. If there are like wins, celebrating small wins, we can celebrate our small wins and give each other hugs. Because life itself, Grandy, it ain't easy. So you don't really want another complicated conflict.
You don't want more complicated things because life can be quite complicated at times, right? And you know what, Nom said? It's funny you should say this because you look at things, and there I was at the business retreat,
Yeah.
and we were there, and it's hectic. There's a lot going on, and you get little moments. And at the end of the night, I wandered around the grounds,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful grounds, and I found the two night watchmen. We were the gardeners during the day and stuff. Well, it's like it's a gated community you're in, and we had the whole retreat to ourselves. Nobody else was allowed in, just us. So you got the gate that locks, and they're there. And I saw them, and as I walked, they kind of sort of almost stood to attention. One was having a cigarette, and the other one was sitting down. I said, "No, no, no, they don't speak English. It's okay." And I looked around, and they are like the night watchmen. Now, I used to do security work years ago. I started as a security guard worked my way up to a supervisor, become a manager, and run a whole region and had like, what did I have? 40 corporate clients, four managers under me, 150 staff. But I remember the days, you know.
Why didn't you work as a pilot, Grant?
No, I am a pilot. I learned to fly. I never had a job as a pilot. No.
Why didn't you work as a pilot? That's why I'm asking, because you
Why
would
didn't I?
have.
Okay, long story. When I came out of being a musician, because
Yeah,
we had a big accident 1 week before we was due to record. We had a big accident. My best friend, who I spoke to this morning, was nearly killed.
yeah.
He was in a coma for 6 months. He had to learn to walk again, speak again. His eyesight and sense of taste was met. He was really, really had to start from scratch. I mean, all that stuff you see in movies, that was his reality. And I saw that. I had fractured my skull, almost tore off this ear. So I had tinnitus continuously since then and all that kind of stuff. But why do I say? So I was missing being in a band. We considered getting somebody else, but it didn't feel right. Our friend was a songwriter, he was our friend, so we didn't. We were young and struggling and realized and thought, wow, God, we may have to get a proper job. And that's something we'd always avoided, doing that kind of thing. So in my infancy, I thought, well, I love flying. Let's look at the Air Force. And I looked at the Air Force and I went to the Air Force and I was just over maximum age to be a pilot, just over. And the Cold War had finished, they was reducing the amount of pilots. And it was just, and they said, have you considered training to be a navigator? And it didn't really appeal to me that much. So I didn't. I then looked at the airline. So I did study to become a private pilot, which I did. And I looked at the entire syllabus of going abroad, becoming a commercial pilot, which costs a lot of money. Um, but when I was learning to do my private pilot's license, they said to me, are you looking to become an instructor to build your experience and then become a commercial pilot, airline pilot, and so on, which I would have really liked to do. But what they explained to me was that industry seems to go on like a 12-year cycle of recruitment,
All right.
not recruitment. And I was just on the beginning of the downward cycle, I think. And they said, like, this is a bad time. And it was just a bad time. And I didn't do it. And it would have cost a fortune of money, which I didn't have. Yes, sometimes you can go to a school, but I didn't. And a big disappointment because even now, when I'm on a plane, I think if I had to have a job, a conventional job, I think I either would have liked to have studied to have been a dentist. I don't know why, a dentist or airline pilot. Probably airline pilot would be my number one. I could certainly see my getting myself really into that. Yeah, I'd like to do it. I don't know. Maybe if I won the lottery now, maybe I would study to be an airline pilot. I'd probably not. I'd probably fly for fun. But that's that. Or maybe I'd learn to be a flying instructor and teach other people the joy of flight. But that's what. But I couldn't do that. But I missed the excitement of being on stage. So what did I do? I became a private investigator. Yeah, and I learned a lot about people very, very quickly. I talked my way into becoming a private investigator. Did that and did all kind of covert stuff. Some of which stuff you see in the press, and I think I was on that job. I'm not sure. I think I was. And later on, I met other people who were also private investigators who worked on a similar job, and they did a bit. I did a bit. They did a bit, and I was like, oh, when you put your piece of information together with mine and mine, we kind of got the full picture. So that sometimes you didn't know the whole thing. So yeah, I've done podcasts about this stuff. That was a different part of my and I still get asked to do that stuff now. Sometimes I still get involved in some pretty high level stuff. So I still have a business for that, which does very little, but I keep it open for these special projects. And that really came about that I missed the excitement. I was young, and I missed the excitement of being on stage. And I think perhaps that's why I speak on presentations and podcasts now. I kind of miss that connection
Yeah.
people on a larger scale. So perhaps that's part the reason behind it, why I do what I do today. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I always wonder, so I had to ask. I
Yeah, why
always
not? Why
wonder,
not?
yeah, I always wonder why didn't you become a pilot? Yeah, my cousin actually he wanted to be a pilot, and he had to go through the army. It's apparently when you go through the army, you don't have to pay the training.
Oh, right. If you become an army pilot, yeah,
Yeah, so
you get the
they,
training.
because he came here through scholarship. I think he was very young. Um, when I think about him, I think about my children when they say, "Mommy, you're cruel." Sometimes, because I tell them nothing is easy. So I I gave him some pep talk when he was young, and one day he saw an advert. Yeah, I think it was a 2 hours walk. His parents were not around. He listened to my voice. He went for that interview for scholarship and he got in. He came to the UK. He was like, I'm in the UK. And I was like, how did you come in? And I was like, oh, no, cruelty. I was like, I had to walk 2 hours because I always said to him, you want to succeed? Mom and daddy ain't gonna help. They help you financially, but you got to do it yourself. But he's a very smart kid. So yeah, he came here and then he got it through the army.
And did he go
Uh,
into the army?
yeah, he had to go through the training through the army because private is very expensive.
So is that the British Army or so
Yeah, because he was here.
so he's learning to be a pilot in the British Army, is it?
It's finished now. It's finished long time ago. It's working.
And he became a pilot?
Yeah,
Well done. So what was he, a helicopter pilot in the army?
yeah.
Right. Okay. Got it. Yeah. 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 I mean, when you go through that, when you come out of the military, you would have to do the conversion to
Okay.
civilian version, but still, nonetheless, you'll get through the course pretty quickly because you've done an awful lot of great training in the military. Great training. So yeah, you still have to do the conversion, I think. But the convert, I mean, it changes over the years. I knew everything about it years ago, absolutely everything. I even wrote the syllabus for European students learning to fly abroad. The reason I went to Canada because it was way cheaper than learning to fly up the road.
Oh, okay.
And it was a not exactly the same syllabus. The air law was slightly different. So I just would have had to come back and resit the air law exam here. But everything else was a very similar. In Canada, was a very similar syllabus to the UK and a very high. UK is a very high standard, probably the highest standard in the world, actually. Uh,
Yeah,
then
I
after that,
just,
maybe Australia, Canada, Australia, US
yeah.
is about the fifth most comprehensive. But Britain's the hardest. Britain's the hardest. Yeah. Or it was at that time. And I would imagine it's similar. It's in a state of flux now because a few years ago it went for a thing called JAR, which is Joint Aviation Rules, which in Britain were amalgamated with Europe. Then when Brexit came and we came out of it, that broke away. Unfortunately, during Brexit, before Brexit, they had they had made redundant a lot of the senior people in the Civil Aviation Authority. So when we broke away from Europe, they didn't really have those experienced people to do it. So the last time I spoke to my friends, they said, "Oh, Grant, it's in a complete state of flux now." So I don't know where it is now, but it's kind of weird. It depends what aviation you're doing and if you're owning. Some of my friends they own an aeroplane. My good friend and his girlfriend they own two aeroplanes between them, and if we go flying in them, but one is on one register, one is on a different register because one's a vintage plane. But anyway, I won't bore you with the details, but all of this. But yeah, if you can learn to fly for the military, yeah, you get some fantastic training. The syllabus is hard, and the standards are higher, but if you get that, that's puts you in fantastic stead, especially if you come out and then go to the airlines. They kind of like those people because you've been trained very well. Yes, you will still have to do a conversion, but as I understand, your conversion will be less because there's simply less work to do, and you will find it a lot easier because your standards are very high anyway. But that's that, yeah. But
Thank you for that, Grant. You see my thoughts. I always wonder, why is he not a pilot? Why? Because yeah, so I thought one day there will be opportunity. I think my thoughts now went to ask him. So thank you so much for that, Grant. There might be someone also who is listening, because when you are
Hey,
explaining, there might
yeah,
be someone who wants to be a pilot, and there are those who tells them you are not good enough or you're not this. So you can go to the army and for free apply. It's hard. Yes, Grant says that the syllabus is hard, but I always believe myself that whatever you put your mind into it, you always succeed.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
You
always
really,
succeed in anything that
you
you
really
put your
can. And
mind.
there's, I mean, like if I look at flying now, I kind of look at it and think, well, how about sport flying? When you can do what you want, it's not a job. You don't have to go there and back. You can have the fun of it. So there's all different ways. And aviation is an enormous industry. There's so much you can do. I had a friend who I studied with in Canada. He came after me. He was younger than me, and he didn't really have a huge interest in aviation. In fact, the story was that he was young, getting into a little bit of trouble, smoking a little bit of weed. Cops turned up around his house a couple of times. His father said, "Okay, you're going the wrong way. We need to get you straight." His father had some money, and he said, "Look, what do you want to do? Let's get your mind focused on something good to stop you, because you're the devil makes work for idle hands, and you're just doing the wrong thing. You're not in a bad position yet, but you're going down the wrong route. Let's get you straightened out. Do you want to
Yeah,
become an airline pilot?" And he went, "Okay." And I can tell you, he turned up and he had no interest in aviation, very little. He wasn't bad at it. He was fairly good, but he had no real interest. He got airsick, first of all. He used to be airsick. Eventually, I said, "How's the air sickness?" He said, "Ah, it's gone away." And he became an airline pilot. He did become an airline pilot. He did it for a while and then gave up and got a job because he got a degree in aviation. That was the recommended thing in case you lose your eyesight and become unwell, rather than becoming completely redundant. Maybe you could get a job into management. So he went down that route. His father funded it, and he was an airline pilot for a while, and stopped and became got into the managerial side voluntarily, because he never really, I don't think, had that huge love of it in the first place, although he was relatively good at it. And that was it. But I, for example, I really loved it. I really loved it. So there you go. So, but that's that. But I use a lot of aviation analogies in my coaching, because one thing I didn't realize about, and maybe your cousin will find the same, is that when you learn to fly, yes, you learn to fly, but the other thing was you learn so much about yourself. I wasn't prepared for that. You realize those mistakes. So when we
mhm,
talk about patterns in negative thinking, you recognize those patterns in your Achilles heel, the thing you're not good at and the thing you're good at. You recognize those patterns. Here I go again, making that same mistake again. And I keep doing that thing, don't I? And you realize this about your habits. And you start, okay, let's adjust this, let's adjust it up. And you start to level things up. But you learn an awful lot about your own psychology. And that's why I use a lot of flying analogies in my coaching now. But yeah, we've spoken about suggestions of awareness of when you're having negative thinking. Also to spot the pattern, what's really going on, what pattern, when does it occur? And the third one is like when. When did this first occur? What's the root of this? What's the first time you had that negative thought about this thing? Now, it might be a negative thought you have about relationships. It might be about work. It might be about when was the first time? Spend some time, trace it back. Let's get to that first incident when it first happened. This is really indicative of what it could. That could be a little bit of embedded trauma there. Okay. When did it occur? And the fourth part is the trigger. What triggers this thing to happen? What is that thing that happens that people say, I got triggered? Okay. By what? Now, have you ever notice someone, they can get you can be in a certain situation at work or training or something, and you'll say something and they'll get triggered and they'll be quite nasty to you or quite offensive. And you'll think, why? I haven't done anything. Well, you haven't really. It's more that they or what you did or you or the position you're in reminds them of a previous incident with someone else. That is a trigger. It's like, Nomsa, you'll be in the kitchen and your husband will make a sandwich and he'll put the knife on the side and you'll flip. You're like, why do you always do that? Why do you put it in? He's like, what? I've just made a sandwich. You always do it. And he's like, geez, I've just made a sandwich. What's
Hey,
wrong with
chill
you?
out.
Right? Right? What's really happened is emotional stacking.
Yeah.
Not that he's just put it, it's that he's done that so many times. Or when you was a child, someone did that who you really didn't like, who drove you crazy. And when you see him have that same habit, you think he's the same. In that moment, you think, "No, I don't want this situation again." And you flip. We all do it, right? And people are like, what the hell got into you? Well, that's what did get into you. It's emotional stacking from the past. And you know that that is the pattern and that is the trigger for what comes next. So when you see someone do something like put their dirty cup down on the table or put a sock in the corner, which is a bit annoying, but it's not a really big deal. That's when we flip because, oh my God, I've seen this before and I know what comes next. It's a trigger, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your triggers for negative thinking? That's the thing. What are these triggers that we see? Because if we can recognize it, like I get it, I get it. Something upsets me one day, and I think, why am I upset? What happened there then? Because I'm aware that I got upset or something's offended me. Why is that? It's offended me. Okay. So when does that occur? It occurred when that person did this. Right. Okay. So when did this first bother me? I'll trace it back. I know. It's that thing 17 years ago that happened. And this seems like the same scenario. And I'm afraid the same thing's going to happen again. And
Yeah.
the trigger is when they made the sandwich and put the knife down and put that dirty cup down or something. I thought, that reminds me of exactly of that person who did that bad thing to me. Yeah. That's it. And then I think, right, okay, so that was the trigger. And then the next part is what would need to change that thinking? What would I need to do? What would I need to think? What would I need to say to change that thinking? In the world of neuro linguistic programming, NLP, there's many models in that framework, but one of them is reframing, to reframe. Now, quite often you will be familiar with the concept of when something negative happens and we feel, oh, why me? Why did that happen? Sit back and think, what's that trying to tell me about? Someone up there is trying to help me and send me a message, and I'm not been listening. And now they put this thing right in my face again for me to look at. Because they're probably saying, Grant, you aren't listening, are you? We tried to tell you a couple of times you're not listening. Bang, there it is again. And I'm like, why me? Why me is perhaps because I've not been listening. Like there's a message that, hello, are you there? And I've not been listening. So it comes again. So it's a lesson that I need to learn. So what's that lesson? So this is a reframe. So perhaps this bad thing happened for my benefit to finally make me pay attention and look and correct. And then the problem will go away. Because if I don't, it's going to keep coming back and slapping me in the face. So this is a bit of a reframe. So if something happens, and I sometimes think this now, sometimes, Nob, so I get a lot of great offers to do some really cool things. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes they don't work out. And you'll think, why? Why did that not work out? That used to bother me a lot years ago. It doesn't
It's not
now.
meant to be. It's not meant
Yeah,
to be.
It's not meant to be. And the reason it's not meant to be is because it means it's steering you down the wrong path for you. Your success is meant to be here and you was going there, and it's saying, don't go there, not right for you. Turn right, go down there, and you're not listening. And it will go boom and stop. Why me? Because I wasn't listening. That's why. So when things go wrong now, I realize they haven't gone wrong, they've gone right. It's stopped that thing from happening for my benefit. 6 months, 9 months, 2 years later, you'll be having a shower and you'll go, oh, now I get it. Now I know why that thing didn't work out. It all makes perfect sense. Wonderful thing, right? And you'll be doing that, or you'll be making a coffee and it will come, you're like, oh, at the traffic lights. Yes, this great thing that I'm doing now could never have happened had I done that.
Yep.
That's why I was prevented from doing it. It all makes perfect sense. Thank you. Thank you. Now I know that happens time and time again. When something goes wrong, I generally say thank you because I know sooner or later I'm going to realize that was for my benefit. I just didn't know it at the time. So this is a bit of a reframe, but it's a genuine reframe because through experience, I've realized this is true. When something goes wrong, it goes wrong for my benefit. So, and I think same is true for all of you out there, for NOMSA, for anyone listening live, for anyone listening to the recording. It is. So don't be too downhearted. Don't think poor old me. Think lucky me. Okay. That's that when things go wrong. It's for your benefit. So that's the trigger. So what would need to happen to change that thinking? Perhaps it's a reframe, like I've just demonstrated, will change your negative thinking. But you may need to change some things. You know, if you wanted to be happier about that situation right now, what would need to happen to make you happier? And then don't pass that on to someone else. What can you do about that? I don't say that to blame you. I say that to empower you.
Taking responsibilities is
Thank
important.
you, Nomsa. Yeah, take responsibility and you can do something about it. You are in charge of your life. You can adjust those screws to make things better. Don't, if you rely on other people, that's scary because they may not do it for you. But you can rely on yourself, you'll do it for yourself. If you're hungry, you'll go to the kitchen, you'll eat something, right? Don't rely on someone else to feed you. Go and make yourself a sandwich. Okay. So that's it. Nomsa, have you got anything else to add before we wrap? I've got a couple of more points to add, but I know you have also.
I'm gonna speak to what you've just said that you used to like why when things don't work out. I used to do the same as well, but I realize that now that everything we do, if it's successful, is for a reason. If it's not, is God has a way of showing us our own path, and also it's important to stop replaying painful memories. Your past may explain your pain, but it does not have to be define your future. When your mind keeps replaying this, hard to bring yourself back to the present. Practice gratitude daily. For me, gratitude is a big thing that I do. I look at my life, I look at my children, and I look at the people that I grew up with, that I went to school with, the friends that I met, businesses that are no longer here. And I tell myself that I'm very, very lucky and I have no authority to complain because God has given me life each and every day. And also limit comparing your life with other people. Comparison feeds negative thinking. Someone else's journey does not cancel yours. Uh, it's really, really important to know that you are allowed to grow at your own pace. So that's what I leave you guys with, and also write your negative pattern down. It's really, really important. Nomsa speaks. I used to write them down when I started the personal development grant. when I go back and read them, and I'll be like, who was reading or writing this? And I was like, what? Honestly? I'll be right. I write my negative thoughts, and then I'll go back 2 weeks later or 3 weeks or a week later to read, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's the heck? Who was this person? Honestly,
Yeah, yeah, got it. Well done.
yeah, write them down and speak to them as well. Like my pastor taught me this to speak to my negative thoughts. Don't speak to them from your heart. Say them out loud.
Good. It's good to bring them out into the open.
Yeah.
Bring them out in the open so they can wither and die. Yeah. So I think once you've done all these things, check in with yourself and measure the result. Once you've done that, do you feel better? I'm not saying perfect. I'm saying, do you feel better? Is there a shift? Because if there is, keep doing it. Keep doing it. And then the final step, I would say, is adjust it accordingly. Okay. Make any fine-tuned adjustments to make it just right for you. If you do that, I think you'll find you'll be either the negative thoughts will be gone or they will be reduced to a very manageable size. And that's a great thing. Can we stop problems happening in our life? Unfortunately not. Can we stop negative thoughts? I don't think so. But if it's training, you can catch them, you can manage them, you can reduce them, and then you'll be a lot happier. And that's what I would say. And as always, if we can help you more with that and go for your particular problem, please contact us here at the show, and we can show you how we can help you more.
Like Grant said, guys, please do get in touch through the website is www.hseia.coach. It's hopespringeternally.com. There's been too many websites. And also, we have a different domain where you can find the Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency as well. But it always takes you to the main website. So please, if you're following us on YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel and on Facebook, on Gossip Talk Shows and Unique Billionaire Mindset Group. Please join those groups, be part of the family, and do follow Grant on his social media handles. You're on LinkedIn, Facebook, where else, Grant?
Oh, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
You're on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm on all of them really, but I'm more
I think
Facebook.
I'm
I'm on
following
Facebook,
you on TikTok.
and I'm on Facebook, and you can contact me by contactgrant.live, contactgrant.live, and that will show you all my socials.
Awesome, awesome. And please, guys, if you get in touch with him, if he doesn't respond, do get in touch with me. I'll get in touch with him. May God bless you. Live with grace. Glad we'll see you guys next week if he is available. As you know, he's a busy man, always traveling. I don't know how he does his thing. As you can see, he cut his chin there.
There you go.
He's shaving.
That was
He
just
was
before I went to a
bleeding
pod.
bad on Monday.
That was just before I went to a podcast. Would you believe? Yeah.